Welcome to Citadel vs. Army Painter, where I take two very similar models, paint one of them all with Citadel paints, and the other all with the Army Painter paints. And today we have some orcs. So here they are. The Ork Boys are back and ready to fight. And these have a few colors to them, but still not quite crazy like you'd go with some of your main units or something like that. This is still very manageable, even if you're going to paint 30 of these guys. So let's take a look through the different paints that I used on each of these orcs. So we'll start off with the Citadel orc, and this is a classic Death Skulls orc. You can tell he's got the blue shirt on there. And so I started him off with a nice coat of Waaagh flesh for his skin. And so just wanted to put that Waaagh flesh everywhere on his skin. And so I did that to start us off. I wanted a color for his shirt, so I said, he's a Death Skull. Let's grab out our Agrax blue and paint in his shirt there. And so I did paint on his shirt next. And, got it as nice as I could around. You can touch it up if you need to. But his shirt went on pretty good. Oh, he's got like the one sleeve thing going on there. I feel like that's kind of interesting, especially that's kind of currently like a fashion trend, I guess. I don't know. Clearly it's not a fashion trend for me. Then for the browns, we're using a Mournfang Brown here. So we've got the handle of his axe and then all these leather straps on him there. And so we see if we can focus on all those leather straps. He's got a little leather pouch. I made him a little leather wristband. He's got a little leather thing on his pants. I did spray both of these black, by the way. So that's why you're not seeing black as one of the color options, is because we're just leaving black where we want it. Of course, you might have to touch up the black too, which you can do. We have Zandri Dust here for his teeth. So we did paint the teeth on this guy. And some people don't even paint the teeth on their orcs. I don't paint the teeth on my grots. I do on my squigs and my orcs, but there he's got his teeth in there, and the skull on his base. Also got a nice coat of that Zandri Dust base. Really loving that for bone colors right now. Did a little bit of a kind of a cheat with the silver, with this Leadbelcher here. Kind of dry brushed it on a little bit. So you see on his axe here, almost looks a little worn, like he's actually been using it, and his gun's not entirely, covered. And so I just kind of dry brushed that on a little bit. Also got his, his metal plates, his armor and things, and this little shoulder pad thing up there as well. Of course, his shoulder pad's got a good bit of dirt on it there, at least simulated paint dirt. And that simulated paint dirt comes in the form of Agrax Earthshade. I shaded him all over with Agrax Earthshade. And this is just a shade paint from Citadel. And you can see, a little bit of brown in his axe is all from that. All the kind of nice little, like the dark recesses are all from that. And this is what Waaagh flesh looks like. If you shade it with Agrax Earthshade, you see how those recesses are nice and dark there. That's just putting a coat of Agrax Earthshade over it and letting it do its thing. It just dries into those recesses. Gives you that extra depth where you need it for these models. And that's a great way to just get them done. Get them done with that. And so there's our paints over here for the orc. No regrets on any of these colors. Loved all these colors. They all went on really well. Absolutely fine for this orc. I would paint, 50 of them. Well, actually, I'd paint 25 of them, because the other 25 I do with this color scheme. And this is the Army Painter color scheme here. And so we started off with Greenskin. Now, if you wanted to, so I primed in black. If you wanted to, you can prime with Greenskin. That's going to mean you're going to have to paint, all the pants and things. But maybe that works for the Greenskin. It was a little bit of a pain to get the neck in there. And yes, I did label them on the bottom, because sometimes I have a hard time telling which one's the Citadel, which one's the Army Painter. He's also a Death Skull, so you've got the nice blue shirt there, and so we used ultramarine blue, and I just literally chose that because Agrax blue is the Citadel color they say is for the ultramarines. That's, if you're painting ultramarines, you use Agrax blue. So from the Army Painter, I just grabbed ultramarine blue. I figured if I was painting ultramarines, that's the blue I'd use, and so that's the blue this Death Skull got on his shirt. He doesn't have as much of a shirt on, but that's okay. For his browns, kind of a big difference here from the Citadel guy is I am using just leather brown. I figure he's got a lot of leather on him. Let's use a leather brown. That does have a primer, but not for these guys. I wouldn't prime them brown. You've actually seen people do prime their orcs brown, and it actually works kind of nice because anywhere you don't paint, it's like, oh, he's got some dirt there. Yeah, that's kind of neat. But no, I painted in all those leather straps, and I did an okay job. I am not a very steady painter, so I touch up a lot on my guys. But my guys are painted to be looked at, from 6 feet away. And you're only 2 feet away, though the camera adds a couple feet of perceived distance. For his bones, that's all his teeth there, and the skull on his base, which is up front there, you can see that. I used skeleton bone here, and that is a very nice color for him. And then I used his silver for the wash. We used the silver. Did the same technique as with the Citadel. I just kind of dry brushed on a little bit, leave some of that black there. He's got his helmet on, he's got that shoulder pad, and he's got his gun. And so you can see kind of the recesses there have that dark black still down in them. Left his glove on this hand black. That works pretty nice, I think. So there you go with the plate mail metal there with the from the Army Painter. Very metallic-y, very shiny. I like, that's one thing I've noticed about the Army Painter metallics consistently. They're much more metallic-y, and I really like a strong metallic, so I'm really happy about that. Then probably my favorite paint here, Strong Tone. All over him, just kind of bled it on, just, splotched it all over. Let it do its thing, it dries in those recesses. There you can kind of see it like on his shirt and on his arm there. That's where we've got the Greenskin with Strong Tone washed over it. Between his fingers, gets a little dirt on the blade. Shines up his pants a little bit. Not a bad paint at all. It is slightly glossy, and so that's why this guy does look a little slightly glossy compared to Citadel. So a lot of the Army Painter, they'll say you put a matte varnish on it. You can. If they sell one. Too much time for me. I'm going to play with it, but for most of my guys, I'm leaving them as is. They're not that shiny, and it doesn't really matter. But you notice the Citadel is a lot more matte, sort of straight out of the box, or at least straight out of the paint room anyways. So there's those two models there. I think they look great side by side on the table. You'd never know. One was painted with Citadel, one with the Army Painter. But this is a good place to point out that you've got some significant savings here on this Army Painter side, and that is partially because all 6 of these colors come in their like starter paint and tool set. So if you are just getting started in wargaming, I highly recommend picking up one of those. It's $50 US is the MSRP. It comes with not just these 6 paints, but several more. And that's all I needed from my orc here was things that are just in that kit. In fact, even if you don't play orcs, take a look at those colors and see if those will do you. I would reason to believe that probably about 8 or 9 times out of 10, that's gonna do it for you. To be fair, Citadel does have some paint kits on their side of things. They are generally for, they're formulated so they have the colors in them that are for the certain armies that are flagship armies for like Warhammer 40k or Age of Sigmar right now. So there's one for each. And so on that side, if you're playing orcs, not as useful. If you're playing Space Marines or Necrons right now in 40k, oh yeah, all the perfect paints for both of those come in there. But orcs, there's not as specific of paints. You're not going to get the nice green for the flesh, for example. You'll get the Macrog blue because, Space Marines. They have a brown, that kind of stuff. But it's not quite as complete. The Army Painter one's a lot more generic, so no matter what faction you're playing, you probably can get some good paints out of there and add to it what you want. So anyways, just a comment on there that these all are found in that kit. Otherwise, they both went on well, and you can see I did a little bit of brown on those bases, and of course I did paint that skull, and that the skull on each one is literally just the bone color washed with the wash to get those eyes and things in there. I really like how the skulls turned out on these guys. That's something I'm going to keep doing on all my bases, just to give it a little something extra. Anyways, I hope this helped you kind of compare two ways of painting the model with different brands of paints. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.